Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Mark on the World show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe. I'm a Forbes contributor covering social entrepreneurship and impact investing, and our guest today is Emily Wright. She's one of the co-founders at dōTERRA and one of the most successful entrepreneurs we've ever had on the show. You don't want to miss this episode.
Welcome to Your Mark on the World, bringing you another change maker with champion of social good, Devin D. Thorpe.
Hey, Devin, how are you? Thanks.
Emily, we're thrilled to have you on the show. Thank you very much for joining me. We're excited. And, one of the things that makes you interesting, unique, special is that you are such an extraordinarily successful entrepreneur. And quite frankly, you're a woman. And so I want to talk a little bit about your experience as a successful entrepreneur who is coincidentally a woman. And let's start by asking Emily how you think being a woman has contributed to your success.
Boy, that's a deep question. I think it really helps me. I think we think a little bit differently. I work with a lot of men. I've got 6 male business partners that I work with. I'm the only female. And I love the way they think and everything that they contribute, and I think they appreciate what I contribute. I think as a woman, we kind of think in living color a little bit, come from a softer place, a little bit more compassion that's brought to the table. But what I love most is empowering other women. And I think that's really needed in this world. I think a lot of women have lost their identity. I think we get busy in our day-to-day work and taking care of family and children, and we lose sight of who we are. And I love to show women where they're valuable and help them find that full potential and live that out.
As you think about your experience, and again, incredible success, dōTERRA, your company now does over $1 billion a year in revenue. You are one of the founders. You've been there from the beginning. Right. You've helped to create the success. But I wonder how you feel being a woman, or I want to ask this the right way. How has others' perception or treatment of you, because you're a woman, how has that impacted your success journey? And I'm especially interested in the challenges it may have created.
So for that, I'd have to go to my experience prior to the creation of dōTERRA. I was one of 4 that sat on an executive board. I'd worked my way up from executive assistant all the way up to an executive position. And to be honest, I had to work a lot harder than the men in order to achieve that position. But I was paid about half the amount of the other men. And for me, that just instilled in me a desire to prove myself even more. I also have to create that family life balance. I'm the mother of 4 children, and my family has always come first, yet I've always had a career. And I think that absolutely can be accomplished. One of my daughters said to me once, she sat on a board for the Future Business Leaders of America in her high school, and she asked me to come and speak. And she I worried, was she, did she feel bad that mom was gone quite a bit of the time? But when I am home, and I give my family my full undivided attention. It's about the quality time that I spend there. And she said, Mom, I want you to come and speak because you've inspired my friends to know that they can be a successful businesswoman, chasing her dream, chasing her passion, but also be the world's greatest mother. And for me, that was the greatest tribute that I could ever receive, because that's what I want to be known most as, is the world's greatest mom. And doing that by making an impact in the world brings me so much joy. So I want to let other women, other mothers, that they can do the same, that dream is alive and well for them.
Emily, I'm thrilled to have you back on the show. You'll recall that you joined me previously, along with David Sterling, the CEO, and Tim Valentiner, who runs your co-impact sourcing program, to talk a little bit about that co-impact sourcing program and why that is an important strategic part of what you do at dōTERRA. But you have had responsibility from the early days of dōTERRA for some of the corporate social responsibility, charitable, the giving back aspects of the business. Why is that so important to you?
Oh, wow. That's kind of the heart of everything that drives me. It's the reason I get up in the morning is to be able to truly give back to humanity. I think we've been given a responsibility to do that. When we first created dōTERRA, before we even knew whether it was going to take off or not, we were still hanging on by our fingernails because we self-funded the company. We were about 5 months in, and I remember having a conversation with my business partners around a conference table. Say, what type of culture are we going to create in our company? And we all said, we have to create a culture of giving back. And so the question was, how are we going to accomplish that? Right? As a young, up-and-coming company, that was a little bit hard at the time. And we each decided that we were personally going to invest in giving back to developing countries. So we created a 501c3, which is called Healing Hands Foundation at that time. And that was all self-funded by us as owners. And it really kind of created a spark, set a seed in our heart to show us what was possible. Never did we understand until we started chasing down the path of sourcing essential oils, which was my sole responsibility for the first couple of years in the company. Of course, now we have a full sourcing team that includes Tim Valentiner at the helm there. But to show us what can we do as we go into countries like Haiti, like Madagascar, like Kenya, like Somalia, and to really see the impact that we can do because we create the demand. We are sourcing essential oils from these countries, but we have a choice to make. We can either purchase from brokers, as many others do. We can have them fabricated in a laboratory, like most of them do, or we can go to the source. We can work with the people who are planting the seeds, who are harvesting the plants, who are distilling the plants, and look at their communities to figure out how we can truly change their circumstance. And for me, my first insight into this was a trip to Haiti. It's probably almost 5 years ago. And as we went in to secure our supply of vetiver oil. We found someone who was distilling it and creating a quality that we had never seen before. So we went in to create a partnership and to gain exclusivity of this particular essential oil. As we went up the mountain to meet with the people who were digging the root out of the ground, and we sat with a lot of the key committee members there. There was a gentleman who got up and spoke, and as it was translated, said, "I have a dream to someday have clean water." And that just smacked me in right between the eyes to say, here we are living in 2013, and we still have people who don't even have access to clean water. So this entire community would have to go down the mountain and spend 3 hours just collecting water that would then have to be boiled just to provide life for their family. And for me, it now became so much more than just sourcing vetiver essential oil. How can we truly empower these communities? And so now we've been able to go in and not only provide clean water by drilling wells high up in the mountains, we've been able to build schools, clinics, community centers for them, as well as create sustainable income for these families through our compact sourcing initiatives, because we do want the world's highest source of vetiver oil. So it all plays hand in hand. And so it's been a process. We started, it's actually our 10-year birthday today. And so it's been a process as we've kind of gone down this path. And now at 10 years, being the world's largest essential oil company, to say, what's next? Now what can we create?
Yeah. Well, congratulations on your 10th anniversary, Emily.
Thank you.
As you look at what you're doing both in the company and in your leadership role there, and what you're doing in your corporate social responsibility efforts, both in your sourcing and the charitable activities through the Healing Hands Foundation,
right?
How are you able to influence the lives of other women?
So I've got two passions. One's through our compact sourcing and Healing Hands work, and the other passion is truly empowering women. Probably one of my greatest strengths is really being able to connect with women. I know what it feels like to be in their shoes. I know what it feels like to have $26 in my checking account, wondering how in the world I'm going to put food on the table for my children. I know what it feels like to go hungry. I know what it feels like to lose my identity. I know what it feels like to get beaten up and tossed aside by the world. And so for me, really connecting with these women, helping them recognize what their strengths are, what their gifts are, because we all have them, right? Those gifts that we have that are divinely and uniquely ours, and they're different from what everybody else has, and to help them recognize what they are. I'm able to do this through various events that we have, through social media connections. I'm able to touch the lives of millions of women around the world. I just got back from Taiwan just a couple of days ago. And even though there's a language barrier there, to connect with thousands of women at that event and to help them understand their significance in this world, and to give them opportunities to give back. I think that's what brings us joy, right? It's when we get outside of ourselves, because it's really easy for us to look at our circumstance and feel sorry for ourselves, right? Why isn't this working? Why don't I have what she has? Why don't I look like she looks? And it's really easy to kind of go into that woe is me mode. Whereas if we can now get outside of ourselves, focus on other people and serving them and connecting with them, because that's human nature, requires that connection, doesn't it? And as they do that, they start realizing that they have something to contribute to the world. They have something to give, and it's their love. Yeah.
Well, it is important work.
Yeah.
You've had an extraordinary career by any measure.
I've been blessed.
Truly, truly extraordinary. What's the most important lesson you've learned?
To be teachable.
Interesting. And how do you apply that?
I think through humility, through service, through connection, to always strive to become a better version of myself today. And that's renewed every single day, right? To become a better version of myself.
Emily, what is your superpower?
My superpower? Probably my heart. I love people. And for me to, whether it's Haiti or Somalia or Kenya, or whether I'm in Taiwan, speaking in front of thousands of people, it doesn't matter. If I can connect with people's hearts, to me, that's my greatest strength, is for them to know how much I love them and how much love that they are deserving of.
Now, it is remarkable that dōTERRA is operating sourcing in Somalia. I mean, that in and of itself, that's amazing. Have you been to Somalia?
I have.
Tell us just a little bit about your experience in Somalia.
Well, it took us about 39 hours to get there. And I remember getting off the little chartered plane that we had taken in from Nairobi, and walking off that plane. It was about 130 degrees Fahrenheit. So it was very, very hot. But what haunts me still today, as I got off that plane and I walked through Bosasa, we were in Puntland at that time, is looking into the eyes of the Somalian people and seeing absolutely no hope. I've never been in a country other than Somalia that had no hope in their eyes. And as David Sterling and I looked at each other, we said, we have to change this. This can't continue. That's probably been our biggest challenge, is how do you change the dynamics that exist in a country like Somalia? The people have been suppressed for thousands of years. And of course, that's where our frankincense comes from. And so for us to go in and gain the confidence of all of the clan chiefs was not an easy feat at all. And we've done this with the help of our amazing sourcing team in doing that, and helping them understand that as we start making commitments to them, that these are serious commitments. And so as we first went in, money doesn't have any value to them. They live in such rural circumstances. They have no access to stores. They don't have vehicles to get them there. And so what has value to them? And for them, it's food. They need food, they need material, they need livestock, they need those things just to sustain life. And so as we're able to truck those things into them, to show them before we even created these partnerships and contracts with them, that we were serious about truly changing their circumstance, to change what they've been paid, because they were reliant on the brokers. And so they would get whatever the broker was offering that day, which was just pennies on the true value of the frankincense. And these trees have been passed down to them from father to son for generations. And so for them, that's all they have. There's no other industry that exists there. You have livestock, which was pretty much wiped out through the drought 2 years ago. You have fishing if you are fortunate enough to live along the coast, or you have frankincense. You say, why in the world would frankincense exist in such a harsh climate as Somalia? We don't have the answer for that, but for me, I feel a great responsibility, a stewardship, because there's a reason those trees are there, and there's a reason that these people have been put there as stewards of these trees. And so by taking care of the people, we also are taking care of the trees. So for me, what really hit me were the women. As we went in and they're in these little hot shacks, creating the frankincense tiers. And to say, I'm going to empower these women. Somehow, some way, I'm going to empower these women. And we've been able to do that in the course of 3 years. They now make 5 times the amount that they were making at that time, and that's going to continue to go up. They now are in warehouses that we built that have flushing toilets, that have running water. They're treated well. They're given lunch breaks and breaks all throughout the day. We've built schools so that their children now are educated, both the girls and the boys. And these schools and warehouses were used as drought relief centers during the drought that they're just finally getting relief from. Their husbands are getting now paid a fair wage as they're harvesting the resin tiers. We've built a clinic in Puntland, and now we're building a huge state-of-the-art hospital there in Somaliland that will service all of these rural areas. And we're just getting started. And so we figure if we can make an impact that large in a country like Somalia, like that was the hardest probably project we'll ever have to accomplish. What's next? Now what can we do? So I get excited.
Fantastic. Well, Emily, I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. Before you go, would you just take 1 minute and tell people how they can learn more about dōTERRA and how they can connect with you?
Sure. They can go to dōTERRA.com, and we've got lots of information there. If you're interested in compact sourcing, we have a tab that you can find there. I also have a Facebook page, Emily Wright, dōTERRA, and you can follow me on my Facebook page.
Fantastic. Well, again, Emily, we thank you for taking the time to be with us today, and wish you every success in your noble work around the world.
Oh, thanks. We have big plans. Thank you, Devin, so much.
All righty. Let's do some good.
Thank you for listening. This podcast was recorded via Google Hangouts on Air and is available at youtube.com/Devin Thorpe. Subscribe to this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes by searching for Your Mark on the World. Every weekday, Devin hosts a CEO, celebrity, entrepreneur, or other changemaker here on the Your Mark on the World show to inspire and prepare you to make your mark. Devin is a champion of social good, writing about, advocating for, and advising people who are doing good. He is a Forbes contributor who is a recognized thought leader in social entrepreneurship, impact investing, and crowdfunding. To book Devin as a speaker, visit devinthorpe.com. Learn more about Devin's work at yourmarkontheworld.com.